What is good? We're back. And a fresh crack for the first must-buy at every position of the year. It's the Stone Cold Lead Pipe lock of the century of the week. We got Doug on the ones and twos over there. What's up, Doug?
Nothing. What's going on, fellas?
Oh, not too much, man. Just
awesome.
Hanging out, melting some snow, getting over a little cold. So apologize for my voice and some coughing in advance. But, you know, we're here for you. We play sick, hurt. We're like the U.S. Postal Service, baby. Coming at
you. Dude, they're out there hustling for their life.
Yeah.
On Sunday in the snow, bro.
Yeah. Gotta get it. Gotta get it. All to just
mad impressed with the USPS.
Hey, you can't miss a day if you want to get transferred to Hawaii. All right. You know,
stepping stones, baby. Stepping stones.
That's right. All right. So we have must buys at every position. We're going to start with the running back, go wide receiver, then quarterback and tight end. We can give you one buy a piece from me and Doug. We got the new FFD ADP out. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you do so. We're going to be reviewing that ADP, giving you a market value. And then a lot of this is kind of based off that as well. So without further ado, we'll kick it off. I'm going to go JT as the running back that you must buy at every position. I think I've got a little bit of higher end player. Doug might have a little bit of lower end player for your pleasure. You know, sometimes it works out that way, but I want to stick a little higher. And JT just, you know, still pretty young, 26 years old, had a little injury in the middle of the career, you know, missed a little chunk of the season this season, but finished really, really strong, right? Week 18, which I know isn't fantasy playoffs or whatever, but 25 points, 27 points, 39 points, 10, 17, right? From week 13 on, they had a bye week in week 14. Really, really strong. Had a bad couple of weeks at 11 and 12, but you know, other than that, had a pretty strong campaign in 2024. You know, can't complain at all. Started the season with a 10, then a 15, then a 24, then a 19, then missed some time, came back with an 18. So really, relatively overall, a really good season. And then an awesome end of the season for Jonathan Taylor, kind of getting back to where he was. We know that Colts line was a little banged up this past year. We know that the organization may be in a little bit of disarray. It came out at the end of the season, right? And you may say, well, hey, I don't want Jonathan Taylor because of that. I don't care. Like, it was already in disarray, and that's what that man was doing. They keep all the parts and pieces together. Hopefully in-house, they kind of get it together a little better. And really, I just need this line to stay healthy and, you know, one quarterback to stay out on the field that can operate the offense half decent. And maybe that's Anthony Richardson. Maybe that's not. We don't know just yet, but Jonathan Taylor needs to be the constant for this offense to run through. And I'm very happy to go ahead and purchase any Jonathan Taylor I can right now, because you're seeing him in around 4-1 right now in the FFD ADP. And I find myself, you know, having to hold back from drafting him earlier because I know that if I hang out for a minute, he'll be right there for my taking. So I've really been liking Jonathan Taylor. Like, if I could trade my Kyren Williams stock for Jonathan Taylor stock, I would do so. Doug, what's your thoughts on JT? In, out?
I'm in. I love it. I love the value right now. I love the landing spot of where he's falling in front of Bucky Irving, right? And Kyren Williams. Give me JT all day. I do love Etienne, who would be sitting right in front of him. But at that value at 4-1, feed me. I mean, it's not too long ago. This guy was RB1 on the season, right?
Right.
And battled through some injuries. Talked about the line play this last year, kind of affected him, but he still finished as a number one. And I think it's nothing but wheels up for him.
Yeah, he's got that Saquon-esque stuff that we saw Saquon come into a really, really good situation and be the new Christian McCaffrey. And I hate throwing all these names out there, but these guys are that. You mentioned it was the Dynasty RB1, has the talent there, and I think we saw a glimpse of that at the end of the season. And I suspect we'll see even more of that from JT, kind of moving on. The one bummer that you did see that. I hate any guy on my team that does that is the little ball drop there at the end of the year for JT, but right before he scored the TD. That was a crusher. That's a crusher for my guy JT. You hate to see that, but he said it'll never happen again. So I'll take his word for it.
Yeah, and for the wallet too, right? Man.
Oh yeah,
lost some points.
That was devastating. But hey, look, this is a really good running back draft class, but that wouldn't deter me from taking anywhere from a mid to late first and trying to pair it up with a 2 or something like that, and seeing if I could go find myself a JT, because I feel like with him being at 4-1 and not being juiced up into that front of the third or even mid third consistently,
1-6,
I'd be interested. Yeah, I mean I'll pay the price for JT there at 1-6, and some people may be saying, oh well, no way, but hey, I'm getting a known commodity, and I think JT could be a very good player for a really long time. So I'm okay with paying that price there.
Etienne and a 3.39 for JT and 2.2.
Yeah, give me JT.
I'm kind of okay with that, and people will probably say, no, I'm taking Etienne, he's younger, yada yada yada. But hey, I like what JT is. Hopefully, we're seeing an age curve push here coming up after the old running backs did their damn thing here, and we had a set of data that we were working on that really pushed the narrative, and hopefully this new set of data that we can push on over these next couple of years will reset the narrative, because that's all those things are, is just simply narrative that some nerd created, and then now somehow he's launched a whole career out of it.
Yeah,
which is why we're in the midst of doing our own data analysis, and we're gonna go 6 years most recent, right? Mm-hmm. 6 years worth of players through the combine. I don't need to go back to 1984.
It's a different year,
different game.
New dawn. It's a new day.
Yep.
Who said that? What's her name?
It's a new dawn. It's a new day.
It's a new life for me.
I'm drawing a blank on the name. Anyway, so that's my first buy right there is JT. Etienne would be secondary market here for me, and Doug, we'll get to yours here in just a second. I hate hogging all the mic time here, but man, Etienne, I wasn't going to throw him in here. I was going to wait until the next show where we go over the marketplace and things, but I went to Dynasty Daddy and was looking at the Etienne buy stuff, and I just
Nina Simone. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue.
I wanted to say Ella Simmons, but that's your kid's name, and I knew that was not Simmons, but I knew Simmons. I couldn't.
Simmons.
This isn't right.
Simmons is old.
I don't want to blaspheme her name there. But ET's value right now on the Dynasty website is insane, and maybe it will change a little bit now that we have the news of Liam Cohen going over to Jacksonville. Shout out to Big Co, who was certain that I threw it. Man, Lake's not dry. Who knows? And here we are. He called me and was like, "How the fuck did you know that?" And I was like, "Man, I don't know. Things are just weird. Who knows? I don't want to throw it down, but
2.8.
But man, the ET values are so crazy. Yeah, 2.8. I mean 2.6. Just
jinx.
A bunch of 27 first, which is basically a second round pick at this point.
26 too.
Yeah, I mean
Tucker Craft, half point.
Tucker Craft, 1.5 tight end premium. Xavier Legette, which hey, I like Xavier Legette, 211
all day,
but just a lot of later stuff for Travis Etienne, who just last year was RB3.
Nobody likes him.
Yes, thank you. That's the biggest thing. He is prime, especially with Cohen coming over, like you said. I really like this move. I have a ton of shares of him already. This news kicked it into high gear. I'm ready to roll, baby, because you can get him for nothing right now. As you're looking at the trades, right? You can see that he is going for absolutely garbage. Yeah. And this is nothing but a buy low scenario. This is exactly how you flip teams in your dynasty league around. Take over an orphan, you acquire somebody like Etienne right now. Like this is how you do it. So,
and we don't know how Etienne will plan in stylistically with Cohen. I would like to think that Etienne is the more talented, better player here and would win out here with the last year coming into the contract guaranteed. I would have thought if Doug stayed, maybe they try to trade him with Balky in there, but it's a new dawn. It's a new day. Once again, shout out to Nina Simone, got it this time. But he seems to me to be the more talented, and stylistically how they want to play maybe in this new offense might fit a little bit more towards Etienne. I don't exactly know. I'd have to go in there and kind of figure it out. But the good news is you can go buy Tank Bigsby for super cheap too. He's like a 12, 13 round pick in here. So, I think he's like 12.6 or something, 12.5.
Idiot.
Yeah. So you could shore up that backfield for pretty cheap right now, and it's a backfield that you might want because they have used the dog shit out of the backfield from Canales to Cohen, and he comes from the Rams. Cohen does the Rams scenario, so all signs point to big time backfield usage from the RB. So all signs pointing up for Jacksonville players. Now we don't know if he can actually coach. We know he can put together a good offensive game plan, but we don't know how that rest of that will go, but seemingly from the outside looking in, aesthetically should potentially give the running backs a little bit of a boost.
Yeah, and I think it all's predicated on touches, right? The biggest thing with Etienne is that he can catch the ball, and in any kind of PPR league, that just obviously adds a ton of value. So I think the touches will be there for both running backs, but I really think Etienne's going to be the beneficiary of this move.
I do as well. All right, Doug, who do you have for us here for your must buy at the running back position?
My must buy is a little bit lower, but it's somebody that I love. I feel like there's been a coaching change in his world, and that is Mr. Rhamondre Stevenson, currently going as RB 26, 9th round overall. Ooh. Give it to me. I feel like with Vrabel coming in, I really think we could see Rhamondre kind of getting back to what he was, being an early mid RB2 for now. That's kind of a safe assumption as far as I'm concerned. We know that McDaniels likes to really throw the ball to his running backs. Rhamondre obviously has that skill set. I think he caught close to 70 balls. 2022, I think he finished like RB6 or 7. He signed for this last offseason for a 4-year deal. So he's there. So that's some insulated value for him, keeping him there through 2028 because it was actually like an extension, if I'm not mistaken. And I just feel like now is the time to buy low on a running back that could be a great number 2 for you. And he's going to produce like a number 1. So.
Yeah, we've seen it happen with Rhamondre. When it's good, it's really good. And we talked about it in the live stream the Wednesday night. Get my days confused here because Charleston's basically been on Christmas version 2 vacation.
It's a Groundhog Day.
Yeah,
still snow outside.
Yeah, still snow outside.
Ice.
But
looks like snow.
You mentioned a year or two. I think it might have been 23 where he caught all those balls. I mean the
He caught 69 and 22. Get it right.
In 22. Well, whenever that was, he was up there with like Eckler and Christian McCaffrey and like some of the best pass catchers in there of like routes run or yards per route run and a bunch of the other receiving metrics that you like to see running backs, target share, market share, yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. But he was ranking up there with, in the top 5 with all those other guys. So it's definitely in there. And like I said, we talked about on the live stream, nobody would say this wasn't a bottom 5 offense in the entire league. So we get the line maybe figured out a little bit and add a player or two. The Pats have some cap space here, so I like this pick quite a bit here from you there, Doug. Rhamondre definitely, and still not terribly old and doesn't have a million miles on him as far as throughout his professional career.
2 and a 3.
2 and a 3 for
26.
Sure. 26, 2 and a 3. I'll take that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, right there, you just said, which isn't a great trade, but Tank Bigsby, scroll up one more. Tank Bigsby or Rhamondre Stevenson and Khalil, that's not a real trade. Tank Bigsby and for Rhamondre and Khalil Shakir, come on now.
That's for sure a real trade.
Who's doing that?
They hate Etienne. Bigsby's definitely going to be the guy there next year.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Nobody likes Rhamondre or Khalil, so that's for sure.
Well, Khalil Shakir's blew my must draft or must buy wide receiver right off this list. Then
out of the gate.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Calvin Ridley. I'd give him up to get.
Oh yeah.
Rhamondre.
A 3, 12, 4, and a 5. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So point is we're looking at Dynasty Daddy over here. There's some
straight
tantalizing.
2. Yeah, we already hit it 3 too.
Value over here for Rhamondre. Kind of, it's all over the place like it always is. But when it's more down than up, as far as what I would like to see, then that raises my eyebrow to go, hey, play around. Let's see what's up with Rhamondre.
Yeah, and he's sitting behind Rashad White and Swift, but in front of Pollard. So, yeah, give me Rhamondre all day.
Yeah, like, I mean, we've all been big on Brian Robinson, and for some reason, Charbonnet keeps being ahead of or going pretty early, 9-1 in our ADP. Like, if I could swap Charbonnet for Rhamondre, I would do that all day long.
Yeah.
And, you know, I like Brian Robinson a lot, and I don't mind drafting him, but I feel a little bit better about Rhamondre kind of moving forward. And those guys are kind of around in that ADP area. So, all right, let's move it along here. Let's go quarterback or wide receiver rather. And I'm going to go back up to the top. I'm going higher priced asset here, and I'm going to combo platter it. And you're probably going to hear me say this a lot over the offseason. You probably already have, but I'm going Marvin Harrison Jr. the third, and I'm going Odunze.
Nice.
Junior the third.
Yeah. Shout out to the Dan Patrick Show. You know, Marv comes out and
Bust.
gets labeled as the best ever. And when you don't come out and there's two other guys that do better than you in your same class that were kind of around you, of course he has to stink and those other two guys are better. But this is why we do these exercises. You know, I'm still very much involved in Marvin Harrison Jr. If you look at his dad's stats to start with, like they're almost identical with, and he's a Hall of Famer now. I get it. Peyton Manning isn't walking through the door anytime soon. Understood. But we've seen Kyler perform better than what we saw last year. It was like kind of a first year in that offense with Petzing, with Kyler, full bore. And it's the first year they were together. And, you know, maybe they came in, learned a little bit, going to spend the offseason together, figure some things out. And, you know, I do think that relationship can grow. I do think Kyler can play better. I do think Marv can play better as a rookie playing an X consistently. Yeah. So I think if anybody's down on the value of Marv, I'm ready to scoop up. And it's basically the same thing for me with Odunze. Like, we knew that it wasn't going to be great. It wasn't the best ever. Still showed flashes, was able to get open in the pros. I don't know if Keenan Allen sticks around or not, but, you know, big upgrade in Ben Johnson. So you're excited about that. So both of those guys to me, obviously Marv a little more than Rome, but for sure, any first I would trade for either one of those guys for me, just about. I mean, not the 1-1 and
not the 1-1.
No, for Rome. I mean,
okay, but for Marvin,
I'd probably still take Genty at this point. I would take Genty over a lot of guys at this point. And then there's
a lot of guys too.
Yeah. Then after that, you know, hey, he comes back into Marv certainly comes back into the picture for me at 1-2. So what are your thoughts there on those two guys? And sorry, real quick, and I'll. This is kind of my thing on these guys. You can find all the reasons of why and point to stats and this and that. And well, when we came in here all off season last year, there were plenty of analytical people telling you not to draft Chase Brown because his yards over expected or one of those stats that the nerds rely on and depend on told you that he was one of the worst rookies ever in that category. So he must stink. And it kept his value low and him off of a lot of teams. And how did that work out for you? When he got a shot and he got his volume, he was awesome. And when Marv gets a shot and he gets his volume, he's awesome. I think the same thing will be true with Odunze. Same thing was true with JSN, right? We've seen this time and time and time again. And will it work out every single time I'm on here harping about it? Absolutely not. But these are the shots that I want to take when people get impatient and are ready to be down. And that's why we're doing this whole exercise. And that's kind of why I don't let that be the gospel that other people let it be. And I think it's the critical downfall and error of the people who, why I can't listen when they pretend it to be the end all be all is when I start to get upset. George is getting upset.
Yeah, it's the attitude for sure.
It's the attitude. And it's just like, there's no way that Chase Brown could have ever been good. Right. Well, lo and behold, because you put some historic number together and put him on this list. And it's like, well, see, of course he's not any good. Look at these names he's around. And it's like, God, who gives a fuck? Like I did the work. I think Chase Brown's good. I'm gonna keep taking this. And then guess what? He got a shot and he was awesome. And if you even watched last year, you could see that there was a lot of plays that he made where it was a shoestring away from breaking an even bigger play. And he was a rookie playing behind Mixon. Like anyway.
No, that is exactly it. Because at the end of the day, all you got to do is watch the games. If you watch the games, you can see these things, right?
Stop it, guys. No one wants to watch these analytical guys. Don't want to watch it.
We just want to look at a spreadsheet and take somebody else's words. Yeah, sounds
certainly
good.
Don't want to take your word for it.
Thanks
your
for the
eyes,
money.
eye test.
Jeez.
Oh, no, man, I'm gonna dive in these sheets.
Yeah, no, but you could watch Chase Brown. You could watch Chase Brown do his thing, and it's kind of the same thing with Marv, right? I mean, we know that the X receiver is the toughest position on the receiving core to play, and at the end of the day, you just want to trust your initial evaluation, and you don't want to get caught up in a rookie slump, right? And it's a slump, but at the same time, I think the man had like 880 yards and 8 touchdowns or something, 60 catches. That's not a terrible rookie season. I mean, it's not wide receiver 1, but at the same time, what are you expecting, right? I mean, do you really expect him to come in here and perform like AJ Brown out of the gate? I don't think so. I think people need to temper expectations, but at the same time, trust what you are watching, right? Watch the games, watch the film. And we know that he's got the pedigree. We watched him at Ohio State. The thing is, now he's got a little bit of rapport with Kyler, and Kyler didn't have the greatest season. So I think when you look back and we get into the second season in the offense, he's going to know it a little bit better. We'll see some progress. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's going to end as, wide receiver 7 on the season, but it wouldn't surprise me. Right. I mean, at the end of the day, just trust your evaluation.
Right. And it's okay to change your evaluation when you're presented new information, but any of the new information I was brought forward to doesn't bother me. So I'm like, all right, I'm good. I'm going to just hold tight and be steady. We can change when, it's stubborn to not change when you get new information presented to you, but nothing new is scaring me off of these guys. A lot of this stuff I kind of knew, especially in the Odunze side. So, hey, high end first, I'd probably go as we're early in the cycle, but I'd probably go as far as 1-2 for Marv, super flex side and premium, and then Rome, probably anything after 6 or so right now for Rome.
5.
Yeah,
I would have no problem. I mean, I'm huge on Odunze. I think he is going to snap this year. So
and hey, this is a bigger running back class than wide receivers. There are still some fun wide receivers, but I mean, even the one of wide receivers, Tet right now is people are kind of split on, right? So and I love Luther Burden, I do. But all right, who do you got for us here, Doug, as your must buy wide receiver, and then we'll speed it up through the last 2 categories because I know you don't care about tight ends and quarterbacks.
My must-buy wide receiver that I've been getting everywhere right now is Jakobi Meyers.
Shout out Big Go.
Shout out Big Go. Finished.
Shout out Jakobi Meyers.
Thank you. He's finished as a number 2 each of the last 2 seasons. Pretty sure the 2 seasons before that he was a number 3, right? So he's startable in your lineup. At worst as your number 1 flex. Never really had a good quarterback, and he's never really been the number 1 option, right? Which might be to his benefit, right? Because he had Devontae Adams last year or 2 years ago, and then he had Brock last year. And I guess the best part case is that he really doesn't even have spike weeks that skew the data and the numbers that he gives. He gives you consistency week in and week out. If I'm popping him into flex, I'm fantastic because that's a 28-year-old who's going as wide receiver 49 in our ADP at 1105 all day, baby, all day. Yeah. I mean, that is the best flex play you are going to find on the board right now. So,
you go high.
I'll have flex with
Jakobi. I mean, shout out to my brother and then last name. We spell it a little different, but hey, what's an extra E here and there between friends, between cousins. I mean, I would even possibly go as far as, last name
similar hair
when you're forging documents or whatever,
yikes,
doing stuff. But wide receiver 3, even if it's a start 3 wide receiver league, like this guy's fantastic. I mean, you could start him as a wide receiver 2. He's been basically a wide receiver 2 pretty much for the last 2 seasons. I've been a big proponent of Meyers. His ADP never seems to really fluctuate too heavy.
He'll never gain value.
No,
he will never gain value.
And so people might say terrible buy, and I understand your sentiments
not about that.
There.
Do you want to win?
Sometimes
points?
It's about buying these points, and I don't really care what the value does on him. Like I feel like any 2 would buy you Jakobi Meyers from just about
absolutely.
anybody.
Yeah, let's do better. You could throw a pair of 3s at somebody and probably get Jakobi Meyers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
2.5. That seems like a good return on him. 2 and a 3 from 26. 2.8.
Tank Bigsby.
2.11.
Geno Smith. Is that 1 quarterback?
No, it's 2.
still, Geno Smith's going super late in this.
Yeah.
No one cares about him. Was he 40 years old?
I think he's like 37 or 8.
Jalen Coker.
Yeah, Jalen Coker.
Jalen Coker. I mean, somebody would love that. I mean, Hoodie, shout out to him in the last mock draft. Gave some Coker flag
He did love Coker.
212. We're almost getting to the third.
Right. So
it's
just a reliable plug and play. I'm not concerned about it. Like, I'd rather have Josh Downs on that one right there, but Josh Downs and Jakobi Meyers.
Yeah, that's a push for me. But I mean, where's Josh Downs going? Right. I mean,
Bailey doesn't move the needle there.
Not for me. Yeah, I think Josh Downs is going.
He's going
three rounds higher than
804. So
right.
I mean, that's the value, right? That's the whole point of why I brought him up. And again, the consistency from week to week, because in a flex play, you want that consistency because you want your top end players to be able to pop, and you don't want to have to rely on them to pop to be able to post a good score for the week. So when you're sitting there looking at somebody like Jakobi Meyers, that is a fantastic person to have in your flex play. And at 11, if that's your third receiver, you bought 2 quarterbacks, you bought 3 running backs, you bought a tight end, you bought 2 other receivers. You still haven't even gotten to that 11th round yet, right? So he's really coming onto your team as probably wide receiver 4 or 5. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'll take him.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Great buy there. All right, let's move on to quarterbacks. I'm going T-Law. Been talking about it in the mocks.
Yeah, baby.
Obviously they just brought in a new coach that people are going to be excited about. It may move the needle some for T-Law as we're going, so the value may decline or increase here some. He's going 5.4 right now in FFD ADP. And I mean, hey, we're like 8-9 mocks in on this ADP, so it's not just like 3 mocks that we're throwing together. 9 times.
9 times.
We're going to have monthly ADP.
Oh, yeah.
It's January.
It's January, baby. And no rookies yet. So that could kind of maybe even say the same push with the rookies potentially.
Yeah.
So T-Law at 5.4, and this was I've had this thought even before I knew who the head coach was, almost regardless who the head coach was for the most part. And now Cohen comes in there, and you got to be at least a little more excited for it's kind of how we're talking about the running backs. We know they're going to use him well. The other big thing was that the quarterback play with Cohen taking over for Canales in the last year in Tampa really seemed to keep Baker on trajectory and maybe raise the tide even a little for Baker's play. So, you like that. It seems like he knows how to deal with a quarterback coming from kind of a McVay Rams system. Should be good for T-Law and this offense. And like I said, we saw T-Law at the end of his season this year, not the end of the season, but the end of his season, be putting up relatively good points week in, week out. I know everybody wants to really clown him, but I don't think the T-Law season was really that bad. Like, he came in and played another game and then got hurt, but 21, 24, 15, 18, 22 were some of the last games that T-Law played. Now, is that the best ever? No, but is it horrible? He had a little bit of a rough start there, but really was kind of coming on and playing pretty well. I know we've talked about this before, but man, again, this is kind of goes back to what we were talking about with Marv and those guys. Like, is he generational? No, that's okay. Forget about that. Stop thinking about that and get that out of your head and just be okay with what he is right now and just take it for what it is. And right now, I think it's a really, really good value for your QB2 right now. And T-Law just seems the most untainable he's ever been. People have already made the decision that he stinks. So go ahead and capitalize on that, because I think he's still 25 years old. Like, we're not even in quarterback prime really yet for, how it used to be. Now, I know some of these guys come in and slay earlier here at times, but I mean, Trevor Lawrence is like, I don't know, probably like 2 years older than Jaden Daniels. Like, I just
shit, maybe.
Right. I don't know if that's quite accurate, but I know Jaden Daniels had, played an extra season. So,
yeah, I think at the end of the day, you're exactly
24 and Trevor's at 25.
25.
Yeah. And I don't know their exact birthday.
Could almost be 2 years.
Right. But
sorry, Doug.
No, you're good. I mean, that's, 3 years NFL quarterback experience right there too, right? I mean, not that Jaden Daniels is short on experience as we watch him in the championship this weekend, but oh my God. But no, I think T-Law, that's a great choice. And you said that you're buying him as a quarterback too, right? That's on the back end too, right? That's in the second half of being a quarterback too. That's crazy. The generational talent thing, absolutely got to drop it. The guy did come out of college as a generational talent, and he's turned into a really good NFL quarterback. Obviously injuries got him this last year, but with the emergence of Brian Thomas and then also Cohen coming over, I have to think that they're probably going to do something with Christian Kirk this year.
Seems like he could be gone. And I mean, does Godwin end up there?
That's where I was going, because Chris Godwin coming over from Tampa, a familiar face in the Cohen system, that wouldn't surprise me one bit. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, I like T-Law. I think it's a fantastic buy. I mean, 5th round quarterback, you're not going to go wrong.
Yeah. All right. Who do you have here for your buy, Doug?
My quarterback is actually another 5th round quarterback. It is one Bryce Young. Yes, I said it. Bryce Young. I really like where he's going. He's going at 5'11", quarterback 22 in our mocks. I really like the strides that he made over the last half of the season. That he really did over since he was benched, right? And if I can get a good young quarterback who really looks like he bought himself a longer leash at the end of the 5th, I'm in. I think he's making those strides, and people want to make comparisons, right? They're trying to compare him against CJ Stroud right now and how their directions are changing, how they're kind of both coming back up and down respectively. If that's true and you're getting Bryce Young 3 rounds later than Stroud, that sounds like a really good value to me. It's another reason and another example of where if you want to wait on your second quarterback, grabbing somebody like Bryce Young in the 5th is absolutely worth it. If you're looking around, if you wanted to pair Bryce Young with somebody in the same area as Stroud, would you rather have Nico Collins and Bryce Young, or would you rather have CJ Stroud and George Pickens? Right? Mm-hmm. Give me the Collins Bryce all day. Right. We know that Stroud lost his offensive coordinator today, so that's sad. But I just think that Bryce Young is an absolute buy right now, and going as quarterback 22, that's really also kind of where the break is. If you look, he's kind of going at the tail end of like a quarterbacks where there's not really youth on their side. There are starting quarterbacks after him that you could roster in a startup, but it's Bryce Young for me.
Yeah, I like that. And like you said, the Texans did fire slow today, so we'll see there. But, I think a lot of people are probably pretty high on Bryce right now. It'd be interesting to see.
It's not as good a deals as I thought there'd be on.
No, he played so strong at the end of the season that
111. This has been like the best deal I've seen.
I would pay. I think anything in the back end of the first for rookie picks, I would pay for Bryce Young.
This one's good. Bryce in 312 for 2-2 and 4-8. Give up 2-2 and 4-8 to get Bryson 312.
107.
Yeah, move your 4 up, move your 2 to Bryce Young. Sure.
107 for Bryce Young and 201.
Yep.
That's interesting.
That's a nice little fallback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's probably a slew of players. That's probably a similar tier there. That's probably a good pick there. That 1-7.
1-7 still going to be a good. That could be Luther Burden. Flex. That could be a good run. That could be Travion Henderson. That could be a good player, but you could fall back in 2-1. That's still going to be that could be Trey Harris.
Yep,
potentially, or Loveland, or I don't know why Warren would fall that far, but a tight end. So it's not the worst ever. Some people would be but when you need that other quarterback, man, and you want to make, that's about as cheap as you can make a quarterback upgrade, most likely.
Yep.
So I don't hate it at all. 109 for Bryce Young, and what's it say?
5-1.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in the draft, you're inevitably going to have to give up something to get something, right? You got that's how it works. So 109 for Bryce, I'm probably okay with that. Basically straight up.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no issues with that. And even the, that 107 for Young and 2-1, I don't have a problem with that. The other person might want not to give up 201, but even if you got Bryce in a later second, I'm still fine with that. So, yeah. All
right, let's wrap this up here with the tight ends. In the startup wise, I kind of looked at it as, Njoku in the 8th round looking good. And then Evan Engram in the 10th round looking good. Those are guys that I want to hit in that area. and make sure that if I missed all the big time guys, those guys, are my landing gear that I kind of want. So startup value wise, those would be the buys for me. And if you can get good market price on those guys, I'm certainly down with it. I mean, Evan Ingram's going at 10.07. So like, if I could trade a mid 2 on a competitive team for Evan Ingram and tight end premium, like 1.5, I think I'm okay with that. Now, Evan Ingram could potentially be, I think they have an out for him in the contract this year. So he could be somebody that the Jags move on from, but they do have Strange there, but they could just pay him for another year or two and then bring Strange in. He's been a good wide receiver or a good tight end at the wide receiver position. So Cohen going in there could be pretty interested in having Evan Ingram as a weapon for him. And maybe they do get rid of Christian Kirk and Ingram kind of de facto falls in there, and maybe they draft some other parts and pieces or get a cheaper wide receiver, or maybe they bring in Chris Godwin like you were talking. And same thing with Njoku. Like, I think Joku's like the last elite, not quite super old guy you can get that can give you those 20, 25 point games. Now we have a quarterback discussion to have happen with Njoku. But the cheap guy that I'm kind of going for here, if I'm saying buy low at every position or must buy at every position, I'm going to probably go JT Sanders here. That's my guy. He's probably dirt cheap still. He could be have the opportunity to be the every down starter for the Carolina Panthers coming in next year. We just talked about Bryce, and this has been a Canales praise podcast for the whole off season, and then staying strong with him through the season, and then it paying dividends for both Chuba and our guy Bryce. So I'm going to keep my faith in him. I like Sanders coming into the process last year, and ended up being able to get a decent amount of him because the RAS score wasn't good. But when he's out on the field, he looks like he fits. Now we've gotten over the rookie hump, and now we're, I think, going to come in here, and I think Sanders could have a big role moving forward, and I think he's just so cheap right now.
Yeah, that's great. That's absolutely great. I mean, he's coming in at tight end 21 in the 12th round, right? In our mocks. That's I love that. Especially, if you're going to pop him in as your tight end 2.
Yeah, I don't want him to have to be my starter.
Yeah, right. But yeah, no, absolutely. I think to your point, if you were to pair him and Njoku, yeah, you're rolling.
I like that. All right, who would be your last pick of this must buy at every position?
Mine is actually going to be Chicago Bear Cole Kmet coming in as tight end 15, first pick in the 11th round. Really like it. I just kind of feel like with the Ben Johnson hire and potential more targets, if Keenan leaves town, I think he can return great value as a 15th tight end. In 2022 and 2023, he finished as, a lower end tight end 1 for us. So 7 and 8, I believe. And I see no reason he can't return to that area. If you really feel like that, the targets are going to be there. Caleb's taking his next step in the development. He's only 25 years old, right? I'm not expecting him to go out and be Sam Laporta and be the new Sam Laporta of Ben Johnson's offense in Chicago. But what I am expecting is progression from him and from Caleb and target shares. So I see nothing but upside on it. He has a newer contract, so he's still in town for a couple more years. He's a good buy for me.
Yeah, I would for sure have him on the buy list. Obviously, we get the upgrade at Ben Johnson, or at least what we perceive as an upgrade offensively, which should be. And I think Kmet a year prior was putting up as many points in tight end premium as DK Metcalf, right? Yeah. And then this year had spots where we saw that where when they were just getting him involved, he just wasn't involved in the offense for large swaths of the season, right? So I love that. I think that's a perfect buy. He'll probably be on a lot of my list from here on out, and a heavy draft pick for me. And now we will see how much the Johnson effect has on his ADP, and maybe it gets too much. But some people get
too much Johnson.
Some people can get a little wonky with a good Johnson effect.
He's just not really a fit with too much Johnson.
Yeah,
no.
Not a good fit with that Johnson. So
anyway,
all right, let's wrap this thing up. We've gone too long.
Always wrap it up.
Wrap it
flexing.
Up. When the Johnson effect is here, just make sure you wrap it up.
Flexual production.
All right, we're out of here. We'll catch you next time. Be sure you're subscribed, 5-star review, all that jazz. Go over to the Patreon.
Hey, win a free T-shirt. Hit us with a 5-star review. Send us. There's a form in the link description below. Enter to win a free tee.
Didn't even know this. Look at this.
Yeah.
Merch in the house.
With that 5-star, quit being selfish, and then take a little screenshot. Send it to us.
Subscribe.
Once a month giveaway. We need 5 stars.
Yep.
Enter it in. I hope it was once a month.
Yeah, sure.
Took my liberties.
I'll do it once every two weeks. I don't give a fuck.
Oh,
once
geez.
a month.
Commitments.
Yeah.
Send them in.
Who's getting that January tee?
And if you've already given us a 5-star, send us that screenshot.
Yeah.
And give us 2 5 stars. Send us 2 screenshots.
Yeah. Spotify and Apple.
You got your wife's login. Boom. 3.
Yeah. Bang. Entries.
Get your kids' phones.
Yeah.
And if you don't win, you stay in the entry. You stay in the raffle for the next month.
Winners.
I don't know. We'll see. We need to get these 5 stars up. If it starts booming, we may have to adjust the. But now we're just. You get a T. You get a T. Let me get a 5-star.
Tees everywhere. If you want more content for your pleasure, $5 holler, get an extra episode every week. And there's plenty of stuff going on in the Discord, both free and non-free.
The ADPs,
we got
rankings.
ADPs, rankings. We got everything.
Mocks, early access to the mocks. You want to get in the mocks? Come over to Players with Chest. At least go to the Discord, because Discord gets like second dibs on the free Discord gets second dibs on these mocks.
Yeah.
Players with Chester's first dibs.
Yeah.
And then,
Talk it up, baby. It's mock season. Let's do it.
Come on over. All right. We'll catch you next time.
All right.
Peace.